Guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are staying safe. I hope everything's good wherever you guys are. Guys, I've just heard some horrific news. I've been watching this story develop, and Conor Benn has failed a drugs test. I think the drug is called clomidophy or something like that. And it's a drug which increases your testosterone. Now, before I get into it, look, I don't really know the legalities of it, and I don't really want to say too much because obviously I'm not aware of the situation. Really, Eddie Hearn and those guys have come out and put out a statement saying that, you know, Conor Benn's passed tests, and you know he's passed other tests, and this was a voluntary test. You know, we don't know too much. I was listening to the story develop on TalkSport, and it was quite clear to see that, you know, it's definitely a performance enhancing substance. It's definitely something that can enhance your performance, and it's on a banned list. Anything that's on a banned list, that means it enhances performance. It's deemed as something that an athlete shouldn't be taking, especially in a combat sport, or any sport, by the way. It's on a bans list, so which means it's in a performance enhancer, or it's seen as a performance enhancer. Now, this is a very bad look. Now, I was listening, as I said, to the story develop on TalkSport, and they said he failed. This is a test that he failed in August, right? And if he failed this test in August, why is this information coming out now? And if they did have information of him failing a test in August, then why wasn't there a B sample? Now, in August, I can't remember when this fight was made. Was this fight made before August? I don't know when was it in August. And if it was the fight was already made, I can't remember exactly. But it's got to be, because the fight's in October. So October, August, September. So yeah, I can't remember exactly when the fight was made. I think it was announced at the beginning of August. I can't exactly remember. Or maybe July. I can't remember when it was exactly announced that this fight was happening, because I remember at the time there was, he said that the fight's gonna happen, she said the fight's gonna happen, and it's just kind of like it was dragging on for a while. But coming to the main topic is that apparently he failed his test in August. Now, if he failed this test in August, then why is this information coming out now? And the fact that the information's coming out now, why isn't there a B test that's already been tested? Because they're saying there's been no B sample for that particular test. So it doesn't make sense. And I think Danny Murphy and Simon Jordan knows a little bit more about boxing than Danny Murphy. But you know what? Danny Murphy was an athlete, so he probably knows about drug testing. And then Kalle Sauerland came on, and Kalle Sauerland said, "Oh well, it's not a performance enhancer," and stuff like that. He was trying to justify why Eubank is happy with the fight going along. And look, let me tell you something. This is a very grey area in the sport of boxing, but I don't think it's a very good look for the sport of boxing. You know, the sport of boxing already is seemed as dangerous. And I heard on radio, you know, there's many people that don't want boxing to be allowed. They want boxing to be banned. You know, if I'm not mistaken, I think boxing has been taken away from the Olympics as well. Boxing is seen as a sport that's very dangerous, that people really actually want banned because they think it's dangerous. And stuff like this isn't going to help our case, is it? I mean, if a guy fails, and the crazy thing about it is actually the fight is still going on. To this point, obviously, I don't know whether the story develops further, but at this point, what we know is that the fight is still on. So the fight is still going to be going ahead, which you could say is staggering when you take into consideration the news. But at the same time, there's a lot of money on the line. There's a lot of money on the line. There's a lot of money at stake. The guys are going to get paid a lot of money. Chris Eubank has said, well, I'm okay with the fight going ahead. I don't really think it should be in Chris Eubank's hand. I don't think it should be in the fighter's hand, whether they get together and say, oh, well, yeah, the fight's okay to go ahead. Now, the other thing is that Chris Eubank, according to Kalle Sauerland, said that, yeah, he's happy with the fight, and he probably is happy with the fight going on. He's going to get a lot of money. But then I've seen on Twitter just lately Chris Eubank retweeting or what you call it when you tweet something and you're kind of re-quoting what they're saying, and putting out a quote of what the person said, and he re-quoted the Matchroom statement that was put out with a emoji with a hand over his face, which kind of tells me that he's not happy about the situation. So I don't know what's going to happen. Is someone going to step in, someone of authority going to step in and say, look, this fight can't happen? Or is it just a case where there's too much money on the line and the fight's probably going to go ahead? It looks to me that that's probably what's going to happen. I think the fight's going to go ahead. But again, we've got to ask ourselves, is that good for boxing? Is that good for the image of the sport of boxing? You know, Adam Cattrall came on TalkSport and he was not happy. He was not happy. He ripped in and said, this is not good for the sport of boxing. This is not tennis. This is not 100-meter sprint. This is combat. You're punching people in the face. You're hitting each other. You know, so I understand where he's coming from, and I think he has a very strong point. I think this is a very, very dangerous sport. This is a sport which people can legally be killed. I mean, and it's to make it even more dangerous by guys enhancing or going in loaded, like Adam Cattrall was saying, I think it's very, very dangerous. And I don't know what to make of it. Look, I said from the start, this is a gimmicky fight. It's a gimmicky fight. A guy, and plus, you know, the other bad thing about it, and what makes it look more gimmicky, the fact that he's failed a test and he's moving up 2 weight classes. See, when you're making, I mean, look, firstly, I want to put out there, I don't know, because for all we know, Conor Benn might be innocent. We just don't know. We can't make accusations. But for me, forget the test scenario for the second. This fight is a bit gimmicky, and I'll tell you why. Because a guy's moving up 2 weight classes, right? To fight, you know, when he should be fighting in his own weight class, right? He should be fighting in his own weight class, fighting a guy who's much bigger than him. And really, the way this fight is being made interesting, not the guys moving up to him, fighting him at his weight class. They're trying to handicap the other guy, right? To make the fight more even, and that has its health risks attached to it as well. So in order to make this fight competitive, you're potentially putting the other guy's health at risk. But he's all right with it because he knows he's going to get paid a crazy amount of money. So for me, I don't like the fight because I don't think it does anything for their boxing careers. As a hardcore boxing fan, it's a fight that I'll watch. But there's no real... I mean, if Conor Benn wins, what does that do for his career? Yeah, he becomes a bigger star. His next fight will be... It won't be for the same amount of money, because what is he going to do? Is he going to go back to light? Is he going to go at light middleweight? Is he going to stay at middleweight? What's he going to do? Is he going to go back after beating Chris Eubank, say, okay, I'm going to go back and fight Keith Thurman? Or is that going to get an automatic shot against Errol Spence? I mean, I don't know what it does. Like, it makes him a bigger star, yes, but the Conor Benn will have the same issues that even if he wins the fight, he'll have the same issues. I mean, who's he going to fight at welterweight? This is what I don't seem to understand. Like, it's not like, yeah, he'll become a star, but Conor Benn's already got a big name. I mean, what does it do for his career? It propels him, yes, but maybe from this we find out how good Conor Benn really is. Maybe if he beats Eubank, we find out, you know what, Conor Benn's the real deal. For Chris Eubank, it absolutely does nothing, because if he beats Conor Benn, he's not going to get any credit for beating a smaller guy at all. So I don't know what it does for Chris Eubank, apart from the fact that it's a big fat paycheck. And of course, boxing and sport is about money. So of course, you know, he's going to get paid a whole heap of money. So I don't know. I've always been uncomfortable about this fight because I know how these type of fights play out generally. So to be honest, I don't really make too much of it. I think Chris Eubank will win. If like I said, if he's not handicapped by the weight and the weight doesn't have any impact, I mean, he'll win the fight because he's a much bigger guy and he's got a lot more experience as well. So I think he wins. And I've said previously that I think the reason why people are picking Conor Benn is because they don't like Chris Eubank and they like Conor Benn. I don't know whether that'll still be the case after him failing a drugs test, you know, because Conor's now failed a drugs test. I think his popularity may be decreased, who knows, by this saga, because the problem is that once your name's been tarred, even if you end up being innocent, You are innocent. It's gone out. It's got out there. So there'll always be that question mark now. And you know, so look, I hope for these guys that the fight goes ahead, and you know, this was an error on the drug testing part, but it's not a great look, is it? It's not a great look when a guy's moving up 2 weight classes and he fails a drugs test, and then the fight's going ahead as well. This fight already had, you know, health risk attached to it, because one guy's moving up such weight class, moving up to 2 weight classes. The other guy's having to, you know, make a weight which he's never made before, which has its risks, and the rehydration clause isn't exactly favorable to him either. So again, it already has that zone of a bit of uncomfortable nature to it, and then this just makes it even worse. So yeah, I don't know how people are gonna view this. I saw Adam Catrall's response on TalkSport, and he was not happy. So I can understand that. And I'm pretty sure there's a lot of other people out there that have the same kind of feeling about it. But like I said, I think this whole fight had a gimmicky feel to it, and really the hardcore fans understand that this fight is a bit of a gimmick. I mean, it's one big guy against a smaller guy. They're trying to make the weight to make the things interesting, or handicapping the bigger guy to make it a bit interesting. But to me, I just don't like it. But we'll have to wait and see what happens. We'll have to wait and see how this plays out. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Let me know what you think about this whole situation, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace, guys.